Welcome back to the Kick-Ass Relationship Show. I am super excited. You know, I'm always excited for every show that we do. But today I am so excited because this is a whole new concept that we are going to be revealing to you guys first. So let me just ask you, you know that feeling like when you go see to the movies or you go see a show and you walk out at the end and you have like this amplified feeling based on what the show was about, the movie was about, such as like The Matrix. You might walk out and have that underdog superhero kind of feeling, or Sleepless in Seattle. Remember that cute movie? You might have that like cuddly, soft, romantic love thing. Or what about Thelma and Louise, where your inner badass comes out and you're just ready to go? Think of that for a second. What we are doing today, my guest today, he is, like I said, releasing this whole new concept on our show, and it's going to be all about stepping in to your own movie and making it your true life story. So you're going to want to hear this because it is incredible and it is such a powerful tool. But before we do that, I am going to start off like I always do with my 3 minutes to thrive. And some of you know my story of what's been going on here in Northern California. I live in Sonoma County, and we have been experiencing some really kind of terrible fires. It's unprecedented what has happened, the devastation that's occurred, the people who have lost their homes, my friends who have lost their homes. It is unbelievable, the suffering that has happened. So what we are talking about today for my 3 minutes to thrive is what to do when you have something that happens in your life that is catastrophic. What kind of steps to take to help you get through that, how to synergize in your relationship in times of crisis. So let's go ahead and hit on that. The first thing that you want to do, let me back up for a second. So this is regardless of whether you are in a fire or your partner has lost their job or you've lost your job or you're going through some kind of crisis in your life. It could be with your kids, it could be with your family, it doesn't matter. It's all very similar. So here are the 5 steps that I'm going to give you to help you deal with this. Number 1 is to slow down. So when that fire's burning outside, when your spouse comes home and they're freaking out because they just lost their job or whatever, even though it sounds counterintuitive, I want you to slow down and take a deep, fat breath and just calm your nerves down so that you can get a handle on the way that you're thinking. You've heard me talk about this before, where when you calm down and you take those deep breaths, it slows our brain down. It slows our lymphatic system down so that we can think clear and make wiser decisions. So that's number 1. Number 2, you want to assess your situation and really figure out what is most important at that very moment. What needs to be done? So in our situation, we had to find our passports and our IDs and our money that we may have had. So those were the things that were most important in our exit strategy. If someone has lost their job, you need to kind of get a perspective on that. Number 3 is your escape plan or your escape route. What are you going to do? What is your plan of action that needs to take place? Obviously, if you're in a fire and your house is burning down, it's going to be much different than if you are suffering through a job loss or you have a child who is in need of something. So you want to just kind of get that plan in place. What can you do? Who can you delegate to? Can you delegate to your children? Can you delegate to your spouse? Can you delegate to others? Who do you have in your inner circle right at that moment that you can delegate to? And then what is your backup plan in case that doesn't work? That escape route is now on fire. Now what? What's your next plan? See why it's so important to have that clarity of mind? The next one is number 4 is to move as one unit. Stick together. This is where synergy is so important. So if you are in a fire, stay together. Keep your family together. Do not break up. Stay together. If you are in an emergency situation with family, with someone's health, with a job loss, with anything, stick together. It will make you more powerful. It will make you feel like you have more confidence, and you'll be able to help one another much more strongly and powerfully when you come from that standpoint. And number 5, as I've said so many times, have that mountaintop thinking. Get a big perspective of what is really going on and how detrimental the situation truly is. Be thankful, be grateful for what you have, and maintain that positive attitude. It will get you so much farther, and it will make your transition into wherever you're going much more calm and easier when you have that big mind thinking. So that is it. And 5A is to help others. When you feel like all else is out of control with your own life, by helping others, by being of service to others, it gives you a sense of contribution, it gives you a sense of control, and it makes you feel good. So when all else fails, go and help others who really need some more help. So that's it. Okay, without further ado, we are going to bring on my fabulous guest. Let me just change my screen so that we can all see him for those of you who are watching the video. And I got to tell you about my friend Swami. His name is Swami Tirtha. He's also known as the Orange Cowboy, as for those of you seeing this video, you can tell. And he is on a mission to bring world peace by helping individuals find joy in their heart and peace in their mind. To get this out to the world, he has his screenplay being made into a Hollywood movie. It's a comedy about listening to your heart and trusting yourself around others. And just to brag on him a little bit, he is the #1 best-selling author who has presented to the White House Commission on Alternative Medicine. He speaks to clients, including top medical universities, including Johns Hopkins, and he has more than 4 decades teaching wellness and consciousness. And that's just to give you a little tidbit about him. There is so much more depth to him. So welcome to the show, Swami. Thanks for being here.
Joy, joy, joy. So great to see you, Midori.
You as well. Let me just give you a little background on Swami. I met him not that long ago, about less than a month ago. I met Swami in person. And he's this big presence. You could tell by looking at him, he had this sweetheart. But for me, this whole esoteric world, I'm getting used to, and I'm stepping into it. But I didn't quite know what to make of Swami until we were put into a mini mastermind together, and I got to know him on a much different level, and I absolutely fell in love with him, and I saw his genius, and I felt his genius, and then I got to know him more, and I was just like, this guy's incredible. And so now I feel honestly and sincerely like you are my friend, and I'm so happy to have you on my show.
Oh, so everything you said, when we met and we networked, and then when we talked afterwards, when we got home, we clicked, and I had a big vision, and you had the big vision, and you have this great smile, and it just, instant friend. You're instant friend. And
I love it.
An honor and a pleasure to know you now.
And I feel the same way. So without further ado, I really want to get into talking about you and this whole new concept. But tell people a little bit more about you, because I just kind of scratched the surface. But
Sure.
Tell us just briefly more about who is Swami? What are you about?
Well, my life really could be a movie. It started off kind of eerily when I was a child, about fourth grade. I used to get dreams that were disturbing me, that my parents and I were separated, that different people kept saying they're my parents, that I came home and my parents moved and didn't tell me where they went. So it was a very disturbing. It wasn't every night, Midori, but it was one of those recurring dreams that would morph, but always the same theme. And then when I was around 17, we were all in real life driving around, and my eyesight went blank, and I started crying, and I said, I don't want you to die. And then when I could see again, they looked at me and they said, what are you talking about? And we're roughly within the year, they were in a car accident and they died.
Oh my God.
So it was like, well, of course there was the grief, but the next thing was, how did I know this? And who was telling me this? And I got to find out about this, because I went to school for radio, TV, and film for college. And when I lost my parents, my heart went out of all of that. And what poured right into this, what's happening, this mystical stuff that I didn't believe in. This is not possible to happen, and yet here it was happening. And so about 45 years ago, I delved into meditation and then yoga. Later on, alternative medicine from India, Ayurvedic medicine. About a decade ago, went to the Amazon rainforest and studied. The shamans there told me I was a natural-born shaman and healer. And so I've had this since birth, this intuitive gift, which was not a gift for most of my life, because why is that a gift? You're taunting me. Why? I can't do anything about it, but you're telling me about it. That's how I first looked at it. But later on, I matured a little bit and said, well, I think you saved my life by preparing me for it.
So interesting. It's, I've heard about people who have these kind of feelings. And for those who aren't used to this, we weren't raised this way. We don't have this inner tuition. Right. It can seem almost, like it's surreal. But I have to say that although I definitely don't have these, I don't have these talents or these gifts, what I've seen with you and so many others, it's being reinforced. I've seen it work, and it's kind of crazy to see how it does, but it is interesting. And that's why I'm so happy to have you on this show. But I want to talk more about what we have going on.
Sure. About
this whole concept behind creating your own movie and stepping into your movie. Not even creating your own movie, but stepping into the movie. So talk to us about this concept, because this is all you. This was your concept, and many of us jumped on board. So tell us about it.
Sure. You said we met at this Evolutionary Business Council meeting retreat, and this is where it developed. Actually, I was talking with another fellow and listening to we're just chatting and coming. I like to know people. I like to know about people. And as I was listening, I started to get intuitions, and sometimes my intuitions come through my inner eye. I see things. And then I'll test it. I'll say, I'm seeing this. Does that make any sense to you? And they'll say, oh, yes, absolutely. So I know I'm not making it up, because I don't believe it, except that it happens. So I'm not cynical, because cynical means you don't believe even what you do see. Mm-hmm. Skeptical is a healthy thing. I don't believe it until I'm proven wrong, but I keep an open mind. And I do believe that everybody has intuition. You've heard of Mother's Intuition. They're Forbes magazine or Fast Company. One of those magazines had an article that the most successful CEOs, Midori, are the most intuitive. Mm. It's not woo-woo. It just, our culture maybe is the cynicism of the culture, perhaps, put it there. But in reality, anybody successful will own up to the fact that it's beyond them. It's not their, as smart as they are, there's something even bigger going on.
Right. Trusting your gut. I think it can
be. There you go. Trusting your gut.
Yeah. Trusting your gut, having that gut feeling. And I will validify that the times that I did trust my gut and I went with it were way more successful than those times where I was like, something's not quite feeling right, but it sounds like a great idea. Right. So I think that's what resonates with me, is that, it's that gut feeling or that intuition.
So then it's happened for so many decades now that I can go with the intuition and not be afraid to look foolish. I'd rather help somebody or look foolish trying to help someone than missing an opportunity to help someone. And so somehow this person was very analytical, a good-hearted person, but presented things from their thoughts. And then I just sort of had this feeling or heard this, and I said, and I don't know how it happened, but I said, what's your favorite movie? I don't know where it came from. And he said, my wife and I, our favorite movie is The Wizard of Oz. And I asked him why, and for what it was for him, who was he in the movie? I said, and how would that relate in your life? And I kind of had him weave together how he saw himself. I don't remember what he said in the world. And it works so well that when we got into our mastermind group the same day, and you had asked the question, and is like, oh, try it out again, because this seems like a good opportunity. And, everybody, here's the thing, we all want to help. So many people, most people want to help in the world. And sometimes in wanting to help, we get so serious, we lose the sight of the joy of life, the potential of joy. And when I'm a big history buff, I like to learn from history. So when we look back at the Depression in the 40s and 50s, 20s and 30s and whatever that was, the Great Depression of that time, people didn't have money. What they did spend money on was Saturday morning movies, going to the movie theater and watching comedies, escaping in entertainment. Yeah. And we are a culture that even the government recognizes that the things that probably saved us was our ability to laugh at things that we were frightened about.
Yeah. And so what I loved about this, and this is where all of you listening, many of you are in a relationship, that's why you're watching this, is I've talked about being able to step into your movie, right? Where we've done exercises with this where we want to create a change or a new reality. And so we've talked about using the technique of stepping into your own movie. But Swami has taken it to the next step and made it much more tangible and understandable. And I think it's such a huge way to manifest, to make it manifest into something that's real. So let's go into the tangible part of it, Swami. So let's talk about kind of how it works before
Absolutely.
we go into break, because we're going to be showing this in action.
Exciting, yeah.
Yeah.
It works because we're looking at the best of you and the you that is you, because self-worth is a big challenge. But when we see mythology on the screen, when we see that mythic character in as you said, The Matrix, or in whatever my friend just said he identified with Serpico, something greater, our greatest potential, whether we're genius or we're heartfelt or intelligent or compassionate, somehow the movie gives us permission to own our true self. We wouldn't say, oh, I'm a genius. But if we say, I identify with that genius in the movie, it gives us permission to do that. So I think that's what makes it so powerful. We don't come out and brag, but by default, we allow ourselves to say, I'm a genius if I'm like this character. And if you're a genius, what if you can make a genius life just like that character? What? Oh, there's a possibility for that. Everybody wants what they love. And then we just start to weave the movie you character with your current life. And it's exciting.
Yeah, it's super exciting. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about how, and we'll talk about, you asked me, what's your biggest movie? And I'll be honest, I was trying to get deep and think of a great movie that would make me sound super intelligent and amazing. And I just couldn't. I'm not a huge movie buff, but the movie that kept on popping into my head is Grease. It just kept popping into my head and it wouldn't leave. And so for all of you listening, that's what I want you to do, because the next segment, just a few minutes, we're going to be putting this into action. So all of you who are listening, I want you to think about a movie that you loved. It does not need to be something over the top, just whatever movie you really loved, and get that in your mind, and we'll show you how it works. But for me, I'm like, Grease. And then so say some of the questions that you
yeah. So I said, okay, what is it about? Who are you? Who do you identify with in Grease? Who's the character that you loved in Grease?
Mm-hmm. And so I wasn't quite sure, but I said Sandy, the main lady, and we went on about that. Okay, so what is it about Sandy that you liked? And what I said was I liked how she stepped into her badassness. Beautiful. And what I meant by that, and it's different for each person, is that she got her confidence. She got her ability to just step out and be bold. And that's what I loved about Sandy.
Right.
And then we talked further about the movie. And what else do you like? I'm like, well, I like how they were a little bit naughty. I'm okay with that. And I like how they have so much fun and they have great friends and they are not perfect. And so anyway, we weave this all into who I could become and how I can use it for what I want coming up in the future. And you all will learn more about this as we go. I can't reveal everything just yet. But so, one thing that we have learned, Swami, you and I both have learned this, and we experienced this at the retreat, is the concept of manifesting and making it really work. And Swami, I know that you're a huge manifester and you use this quite often. And I've presented this idea on my shows and in my blogs. But with the whole concept of movies, let's talk about that a little bit more, how this works for manifesting. Swami, can you kind of give us a background on that?
Manifestation is seeing the goal. Now, if we say, I'm not good enough, that's what we're seeing as our goal. And then we never succeed. But if we say, I deserve it, I deserve to get that raise, I deserve to get that job, I deserve to fall in love, I deserve to be loved, then that's our goal. And the more, and the movie part of it is, when we take in a belief and an emotion, and the stronger the emotion, the quicker the manifestation.
Yeah. And that's it. It's having that emotion involved with it, which is so important, and really feeling it. So that is what this whole concept does. And when we come back, we're going to go into a commercial right now, and then we're going to come back in 2 minutes and we're going to show it in action. My good friend Kelly is going to be here with us. So get out your pens and paper, because you're going to want to take notes on how this works. And then we're going to talk about an opportunity for you to learn more after, if you are interested in taking this further. So come right back, you guys.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Midori, and I want to express how great.
Well, I'm going to have to go with the horse whisperer.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's a wonderful. I'm going to have so much fun. We're going to have so much fun because I love horses too. What is that? What is your takeaway? Why do you love the horse whisperer so much?
I think I just appreciated learning about Buck Brannigan and his approach, and how there's so many comparisons to dealing with horses to people, and everything in life, your approach is everything. And when I saw how he was so successful with just being a partner with the horse instead of forcing the horse, it was just so much easier. And I've actually used some of those things on my son because he, to me, he's like a wild stallion, and they mirror what you do. Your energy is mirrored by the horse. And, my son is just like that. The bigger I get with him, the bigger he gets with me. And I've learned to calm it down, and then he calms it down. It's just, there's just so much that I took away from it, but that was awesome. The eye-opening is just the magic.
I couldn't have asked you to pick a better movie, because I'm a horse whisperer myself. Tell me, is Buck do you identify with Buck? Is that the character in the movie that you identify most with?
Yes.
Okay. And so what is it about Buck specifically that the key, the essence of Buck that you resonate with?
Well, I think that with Buck, he had quite a tragic story of his life, and I don't have that story, but I know people who do.
Okay.
And how, he saw possibility in himself through the horses. And I never understood the depth of a relationship with the horse until I got one. And I always thought they were pretty, and I always loved horse movies and wanted them when I was little. But the spirit of the horse is what draws me. I mean, it's very magical, and Buck made me see that there was a new way to communicate with my horse that I didn't know about. But his story was really touching. His story of abuse and, you know, treating something real kind and having it mirror that back to you is just that's what made me like it.
Thank you for that, Kelly. So would you say that sentence applies in your life, that in your life treating others with kindness and getting it mirrored back? Would that be the parallel between the movie and your life?
Yes, that's how I live.
Beautiful. Okay. So this is a key point now, and this is Midori. Now we've got the 2 steps. We know her favorite movie, and we know the theme of the movie for her is her life is about treating people and animals with kindness and seeing it reflected back. So it's a kinder world. Mm-hmm. So now the question is, what is your biggest goal right now? Your biggest opportunity that you're like to move into, grow into, step into?
You know, I don't know. I'm actually in a place where, you know, life is very busy with our work, that my horse is my peace, and being around. I love working with horses, so this is my retreat away from life, you know.
Okay.
So I don't have my specific goal with my horse, and my relationship with him is just to get a closer bond. We're already really close, but I mean to learn a way to be with him so naturally that it just, you know, it's easy, and it already is. But
sure,
you know,
Can I just step in?
Learn a lot more.
Please do.
Can I just step in for really quick, because I know Kelly pretty well, and I think with what we're talking about is that Kelly does so much for other people, and she has this natural tendency to give, and be wrapped up in a lot of people's stuff. It just seems to come to you, Kelly, whether you want it or not. But and what I've heard from you so many times is that you want happiness and peace for so many others. That seems to be a theme with you. Like a really strong theme that I've seen consistently with you is peace and happiness for all those who are in your life, including, you know, your own immediate family, but also all your friends. You're very caring and giving. And so that's where I can see what you're talking about, maybe being like a bigger goal, seeing, you know, with your son. I know he, and I adore your son, but he's always looking for something, right? And so just kind of having that peace possibly as something that's bigger. Make sense? Does that make sense, Swami?
So would you say, to make sure then I'm hearing this, that the challenge for you is to spend more time in peace for yourself without feeling guilty, or maybe there's a way you could spend more time in peace that helps everybody else?
Yeah, I would really love that. That's my goal, is to simplify my life so that I'm able to be in that.
And what if I said to you there was a possibility, a very real possibility, that if you chose at some point to spend your time with your horses more, half the time or full time, that could become the way that you're helping yourself and everybody else even more than you're helping them now? Would that sound like a cool idea?
Well, it would sound really good to me, but my husband probably wouldn't like it.
Well, I'm not saying ignore, I'm not saying right away in the sunset on your horse without your husband, but to make, this is a for instance. So let's draw up an analogy. Buck had a troubled life, and he was able to find peace by spending his time with the horses. Not that you had the tragedies he had, but you're having the lack of peace, which is just a parallel there, and you have more peace with your horse. So if you became like Buck and chose in some way, fast or slow, to spend more time with your horse, possibly making a living out of it, that you would have more peace, you would be helping more people. That would be an example of how you can step into that movie, your favorite movie, and make it the theme of your life. What do you think about that? How does that feel?
I think that sounds great. Sounds wonderful.
Okay. So at this point, this would be like a pat yourself on the shoulder for getting here, because you've just stepped into a very heartfelt possibility that can happen for you. The next step we would do, Midori, and maybe you want to step in and comment a little bit before we do it, is to start to make that movie, how you would make that movie relate to how you would do it in the world, how you would switch to that dream life.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Midori,
and so I don't know how long that's going to take.
Right.
But I mean, is there so Swami? Let me just ask you. So at this point, when you're working with someone on this movie concept,
right,
what is the next step? So you kind of start making some kind of their blueprint for them, how it fits into the movie.
What I would do now is have them tell me what Buck had to do in the movie, his action steps to move into the world of horses, and then draw those analogies into what she could do now to step into her life with the horses.
Yeah. Okay. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the subconscious part of this. So when it comes to manifesting, one thing that's really important is to have something that you can remember that is in your brain. So, for Kelly, you love this movie. You've seen it. You know it well. For me, I know Grease because I've seen it at least 500 times. So it's ingrained in my mind. But what happens is, because we know it so well, when Swami starts giving you those steps, it starts becoming something that you can visualize because you've already seen it. And you're just stepping into that role, but designing it, manipulating it a little bit so that it's more tailored to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's the subconscious part of this. And it makes it so that our brain sees it. And when your brain can see it, that's why you hear, like, when people are talking about manifesting and doing vision boards, that it's so important to have complete clarity. This is the movie concept is taking it to the next level. It's creating a super clear clarity because you've seen the movie. You're just tailoring it to yourself. That's why I'm so excited about this. Okay, Swami, I can tell you want to say something. Go for it.
Yeah, we're fusing emotion with the vision, and then if there's something called NLP, neuro linguistic programming, which I'm pretty sure you've heard of. And it's really identical to that you're looking at a video, you're looking at a film, you're seeing what Buck is doing to take the step where you are right now. What did he do? And you're seeing him take it. And then you go into action and you're fusing the you into the Buck who's already doing the action. So the action is done as you're doing it. And that's why it becomes a manifestation so easily. You know where it's going to end up because Buck did it, and you're Buck.
You're Buck. But you're a prettier Buck. I don't know what Buck looks like. But
funny.
Buckina.
What's funny is I have a friend of mine is a horse trainer, and he's very talented, and he's very Buck-like. And his dream was to move to California. He lives in Oklahoma, and he wanted to move to California. And he kind of just placed his order with the universe, like, I want to have, I want to manage a ranch, and I want to train horses, and I want to, have a place to live that's affordable and all this stuff, right? And all of a sudden, I got a phone call from our friend Deanne. And Midori and I have a similar friend, or a common friend, Deanne. And Deanne told me about a possibility of a job that was opening up at a ranch in Santa Rosa. So I called him. I go, hey, why don't you call and check this out? And he did. He called. He interviewed. He came out, and he's now at the ground level of this amazing horse program that's going to be going on Crane Canyon. And this guy does like therapy with horses, and he does horse rescuing, and he has a full boarding facility, and he has a house for him to live in. I mean, it was just the coolest thing. And so he told me that he will give me free lessons for life for giving him this opportunity.
Yes. That's cool.
So, I mean,
who knows where
that's like a door open. Yeah.
That's
so I'm super excited. Not that I would make him train me for the rest of my life for free. I would never do that.
Well, not so bad. Not so bad. Kelly, thank you so much for being on. I hope that this was helpful, and I'm going to call you after because I want to hear what you have to say. But I hope that this was helpful and like it made sense.
Yeah, it's really a neat idea just to think of the character and how to play it out in my own life.
Yeah. And do you feel you can now take your next step, or start to feel your way into your next step more confidently, more of a vision?
Yeah, it did open up a door for me. I never thought of like, oh, well, I want to be Buck. I just, thought I wanted to do what Buck does. I never thought of being Buck. So yeah, that was kind of cool. Thanks.
Thanks, you, Kelly.
I will call you later, but thank you for being our guinea pig and being on the hot seat. You're awesome, and we will talk to you in a little bit. But I'll let you go so you can go ride your horse.
Yeah, go pet your horse for me.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, so that was super cool. We're going to go into a quick break, and when we come back, Swami doesn't even know what we have going. We're going to play a little game. So you want to come back for this. So stick with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
All right, you've got about 1:40.
Okay.
Well, that went okay. That went pretty good.
That went pretty good. Yeah, because she, I should have told her a little bit more to think about what her goal is, but I didn't. I forgot to do that. But you were really good. You were really instrumental at pulling that out, and it made sense when I was listening to her.
The dream for her, the master key to life is horses.
Mm-hmm.
So the more she spends time with horses, the more in paradise she'll be. The more she'll attract anything and everything and everyone and money and whatever she wants. It's going to come because that's her. She was born to live with horses.
Yeah, that's I'm going to I have chills a little bit, but I'm going to share that with her. Yeah, she has wanted a horse for so long, and her husband was absolutely anti-horse, 100%. And then all of a sudden she got it, and it's been great. So, she can make it happen. I'm just making notes when I talk to her. But yeah, it's kind of cool.
There's research that tells us that people are actually guilty about being happy. And by having the movie behind her and having the horse and knowing that the love with a horse is going to afford her more instant love. It's going to flow out of her and help all the people. So she won't be guilty leaving all the work that she's doing now for others.
10 seconds.
Okay. When we come back, I want you to share exactly what you just said. And then we're going to shift.
All right. We're live in 5, 4, 3, 2. You're live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I am here with Swami Tirtha, and we were just having a really cool conversation. We are going to go into our game in a second, but I think what Swami just shared with me is genius, and I want you all to hear it because it's just too cool to keep to myself. So, Swami, share what you were talking about, feeling guilty.
Sure. The goal is that, as with Kelly, as she follows through, she's going to live in her paradise. Being with horses is her master key to paradise. Now, what happens is without an incentive, a movie, a flow, research says that people are actually guilty about being happy. And they found that actually women are more guilty than men. And so what we want to know, what I would tell Kelly or anybody when we do these workshops, is that when you're doing what you fully love, your heart is so open, you're like a lighthouse. You're beaming love to everybody. So you don't have to feel guilty like, oh, I'm not running around to this person and to that group. I'm just where I am, and my love is helping everybody. And the analogy I use is the lighthouse. When the ships at sea need the lighthouse keeper doesn't turn off the light and run down the stairs and try to call them to shore. They leave the light on. So live the life that lights up your life, and you will guide everybody to joy, to paradise.
There you go. You guys heard it here. I love that. I had to share it with you. Okay, but without further ado, we are now putting Swami on the hot seat. We're playing a little truth or truth game. So hopefully... Woo! Okay. So Swami, how this game works is I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions and there's no passes. You have to answer. But it's all fun. It's all good.
Okay.
It's fun. Okay. So the first question, I like this one. I just found this morning, just so you know.
Okay.
Name a time that you totally screwed up something, but no one ever found out it was you.
Well, okay. I'll be real honest. When I was a little kid, I loved to buy baseball cards. I think that's what I did. I did that, but I think this was the story. And in my parents' in their bedroom, they had a little box, and they kept knickknacks in there. And I happened to find a quarter or something, and I go, "Oh, look, I'll just take that." And I every once in a while would go in and take a quarter and go buy baseball cards. And one day, I gave the guy the quarter. He gave me the baseball cards, and he gave me like 75 cents change. And I'm going home going, oh my God, I used a silver dollar. And I felt so bad. I just never did it again.
Your guilt.
Nobody, whatever. I stepped over some boundaries in a big way. And if they knew, they never said, but I just straightened up after that.
Wow. I wish that kind of stuff worked on my kids, that by just doing something like that, they would have just snapped into it. But, Swami, I think your integrity is just very, very high. So that's great. Okay. My next question, which celebrity do you embody the most? Who do you align with the most?
Wow. Oh boy. I think excuse me. What's going on here?
It's probably the celebrity calling you right now.
That's right. And I just hung up on him. We were talking the other day, and there's three parts of me. I did this, talked in Toastmasters the other day about this. Toastmasters is a leadership and communication group. And one part of me is joy and humor. Another part is cowboy. And another part is orange and monks and things like that. So the movies for me would be the Night at the Opera with Groucho Marx and the stateroom scene that just built and built until I was laughing so hard I fell on the floor. That was part of it. Then there's the movies with Robert Redford, the Electric Horseman, the compassionate cowboy who's into nature and horses and things like that. And then when we moved in second grade, by third grade, my mother had put a rug and curtains in my room, and guess what color they were?
Orange.
Yeah. I grew up in orange. So joy, cowboys, and orange. That's my life. And they haven't made a movie about the orange cowboy yet, but that's
who knows? Who knows what'll happen? And Robert Redford, if you're listening, I have someone who really wants to meet you. I love this question for you because I know that you talk about this a lot when you and I have talked about it. So name a miracle that you've witnessed or that you've been a part of.
Well, I'll tell the miracle that you and I created from developing this idea, because it's the latest and the greatest.
Yeah.
We were talking about, you said, could you just outline what you told me so I can make some notes? And as I was talking, Spirit just kept saying, just keep going, keep developing it, because it's so wonderful. And we were just creating in our mind how this could work. Once you saw that and we took you through the whole arc of how you can actually give a presentation in a show, really have a movie of your show. And then you said, nobody's ever done this before. This is going to change the way we do presentations. I don't know if you saw it, but I literally saw some sort of invisible structure in the air that we created with our creativity. And that was miraculous.
Yeah. And so, okay, well, we might as well just go there right now since you brought it up. So this whole concept that we're talking about, I'm super excited about because I saw the effect that it had on me, obviously, but also on others. And so Swami and I and a few other people have come together and we are putting together a workshop. And it's going to be incredible. You only saw on this show, you only saw a very small part of what it's about. But because we are coaches and we have so much experience helping people, we have really made an incredible, impactful, life-changing program that you all can take part in. And we are going to be rolling it out very, very soon. And so that is what came from just this little, I met Swami at that event. We had a quick little mastermind. We talked for maybe 10 minutes during this mastermind. And then we hopped on a Zoom call later. And that's when things just started gelling and coming together and the visualization happened. And that's what Swami's talking about. And now we have so many people who want to come on board and be part of it. Right. And it's becoming something pretty massive. So if you are interested in learning more about what we have going on, all you have to do is just email me and I'll send you some information. But Midori@MidoriVerity.com is where you can email. But don't leave us yet because we still have more to come. So I have one more question for you, Swami.
All right.
Let's see. I have two questions here. Which one do I want to ask? I'm going to ask this one. If you could know the absolute and total truth to one question, what question would you ask?
Wow. I would ask, and I think I sort of already asked this, but it's worth putting it into words. How can I love more fully everybody, anybody, in any given situation? How can I go deeper into heart in the experience of whoever I'm with at the moment?
I like that.
Yeah.
I like it. For me, I think of more silly things.
Well, tell me. I would say, how can I get my hands on some vanilla ice cream that's organic? And that'd be one too.
Right. Okay, well, I like that. So let me just ask you, now we're switching gears a little bit and we're going to talk about just changing it up a little bit, but I still have more questions for you. So if you could go back 20 years, what advice would you give to yourself, knowing what you know now?
Okay. I remember, 20 years ago would make me 40 something, 43. And I do remember at 50, life does begin at 50. And there was a degree of, you're closer to an end of life at 50. Maybe not maudlin, but just thinking about that. And I made some changes, let me step back, let me help the young people more, things like that. 40, I think I would say spend more time in nature. And I did back then, but even more. Live in your paradise. And I did then. Well, I've kind of pretty much just, I really kind of live this way. If there was a way to okay, everything, I kind of like Spirit says, okay, you can do this now. Okay, you can do that now. So it's not like I felt there's anything that was, oh, I wish I did that. Because if I really wished it, Spirit would have said, sure, let's do it. Yeah. And that's all the honest.
You've had that.
Yeah, I live by, that's how I live by that guidance.
I like that. Yeah. My biggest thing, if I was able to go back 20 years, I would tell myself to chill out, to not worry so much, to know that the kids are going to be okay. That would be my biggest thing that I would say to my 20s.
So what I would say, thank you for saying that. So what I would say is trust guidance more. Listen to guidance. Start listening to guidance more. That would have been a great thing. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Okay. Well, Swami, thank you so much for being here with me. You are such a joy, and I'm so excited about where we're going to go with this. But again, if you are interested in learning more, just simply email me, midori@midoriverity.com, and we will let you know as things start unfolding even more and how you can get involved. Right. But, we do rely on our listeners and our guests to help us share the show. So I would so be appreciative if you would share the show and let your friends know so that we can let more people in on what's going on and help them create the life that they want and the relationship that they deserve and live in more peace and synergy and happiness. And that's what we're all about, and to have that thriving lifestyle. So that's what I bring to you every week. Next week, we have an incredible guest. Her name is Lucy McMonage, and she is, you know Lucy. She is about family relationships with money and how it affects us. So she's going to be talking about that and how even after generations, it can still, those things that we learned from so long ago may still be attached to our back. So how to change those patterns, how to release that monkey on your back that may be holding you hostage. And she's going to be talking to us about that. So you're going to want to be here. So make sure you put that on your calendar. As always, I always sign off with remembering the gratitude attitude. Remember to be grateful and share with at least one person every single day that you love what you are grateful for with them, and just let that relationship blossom. Thank you once again for being here. Swami, thank you for being here.
Joy. Thank you.
And if you would like to hear the replay, it will be on my website in a couple days, midoriverity.com/show. Thanks for being here. Till next time.